When we talk about evaluating and engaging, there is this idea of just exploring what's available out there. And that's what I mentioned earlier, is that we have to be willing to just check things out and see. If we don't begin to experiment, then we don't really know strategically how it fits in to what we're doing. This is a tool that's on the EdTech Center site, and it has a whole bunch of different generative AI tools and features. It's actually 2 pages long. And if I can pull up the link for you guys to put in the chat. But it's a good place to start. These ones that are highlighted in light green, they don't require any account or money to experiment. So that's a great way for you to just think, oh, you know, I kind of want to see what everybody's talking about, but I feel nervous or I don't want to set up an account. Then just go to these sites and just see what they can do and if that's interesting. And then these ones in white, these are from the big tech companies. You've probably heard of ChatGPT, Google's is Gemini, Anthropic has Claude, Microsoft has Copilot, which is built into the Microsoft suite. And then we have some that are more EdTech specific. And I'm pulling up and then there's a whole second page of these. So this is a good place for you to start if you just want to kind of see what's available and experiment. Then we have to get into the evaluation of the tools before we begin to build them into our strategy or use them really fluently. We need to do this process of evaluating them. Some people may have a full procurement department or an IT department that oversees this. That's great. Not everybody does. So sometimes it's left to us as teachers or trainers to decide which tools that we're going to use. Someone just made that. Oh, really? No, really. And I will say that even sometimes within an IT or a procurement department, there are considerations that may be specific to frontline workers or English language learners that department hasn't integrated into their own evaluation criteria. So our workforceedtech.org is a great site with criteria for evaluating tools for workforce learning. So we encourage you to go there. There's a repository of different tools and criteria. We're also updating that site to include AI considerations. These won't be hard criteria. These will be more, how do we work with AI? What are the things I can ask myself? And then what are the things that I should ask of a product? So we will be rolling that out on May 10th, and we'll have a webinar for the people who helped develop it to talk about these different considerations that you can make around AI. So I hope you guys will come to that. And then from there, we have to engage, meaning we have to know how to use the tool and how we're going to engage with them. So one key digital skill that may be shifting is going from this idea of effective search, a Google search, a keyword search, to effective prompts. And we've talked a lot about prompts, so I won't go too deep into that, but you guys have the open prompt book and you can look in there, and there are so many resources out right now around prompting. I would say my warning is don't go all the way. It's not, you don't, there's a lot of prompt engineering that's really for programmers and developers that it's likely that many of us don't need to go that deep, but I would say there's a few key strategies that we can use to get the most out of it. We ran a teacher training. It was called Camp GPT. It was a collaborative experience that gave teachers time to experiment with different tools, evaluate tools, think about the pitfalls and drawbacks like bias and inaccuracy. And really what we learned through that process, we've actually done it a few times now for a few different states. What we learned is that as soon as people begin to experiment and have critical conversations around AI, the guard is going down and we're demystifying AI. And a lot of teachers and trainers are feeling more confident and how it relates to their work. So I think getting there and getting started with the community is essential. Yes, Jackie, we could do a Camp GPT, of course. Okay, so I already shared the open prompt book. We can skip that. And my last little section, we're going to skip this activity because we're running a little low on time, but you guys can do that later. That's the prompt framework. The last piece is teaching for AI, so developing AI literacy. I know the city of Houston has an amazing plan and is very focused on digital equity and digital skills. This is an extension of any work that you're doing in helping learners build digital skills and any digital equity work. It's around developing for everyone AI literacy as a right to all of us, because AI is included in our justice system. AI is included in our healthcare systems, in our financial systems. So we all have the right to know how AI works. What are the concepts around it? What are its limitations? That's the concept of AI literacy, and I encourage you to view that as a human right here in the US, where so many things that we engage with are utilizing AI. Okay, and so this AI literacy starts with a framework. There are lots of frameworks. They're all there's not that many, and they're all, from what I know, in the primary and secondary or the K-12 space right now. So we at the EdTech Center, we're working on developing AI literacy that branches off of our current digital skills framework. But these are two, I mean, this is a good way to think about what is the scope of AI literacy and how could I begin to learn more for myself, and then also pass that learning along to my employees or my learners. Next, there are lots of great free curricula from the Algorithm and Data Literacy Project. I love that project. They've got like great visuals of how algorithms work and what happens with your data, and they're raising a lot of awareness around big data and data mining and those kinds of things. AI EDU is more educational setting focused, but even these AI snapshots that they have, these are like one slide to facilitate a 5-minute conversation around AI. I love the snaps. And then Day of AI has more thorough curriculum of like probably 4 to 5 hour long courses. And then there are lots of resources for getting a little bit of that technical awareness around AI. So this teachable machine, you can train your own AI model. In Pickaboo, it's a really easy way to work with building a data set and then training a model. I know it sounds intense, but these are super easy tools to use. And what it helps you understand is that AI is built on data, and then we put parameters around that data, and that's how it enacts the decisions that it makes. And then a lot of people say to me, well, I don't teach AI, or I don't teach computer science, or that's not my wheelhouse. And to that, I say, next, that there are a lot of ways to develop digital skills and resilience. There's explicit, which I can understand if you can't teach explicitly AI literacy, but there's also click, contextualized, click, and integrated development of digital skills and resilience. And so if you're teaching, if you're in a teaching or training role, you can think about how this can be woven into that experience, AI literacy. Or if you are, if you are in a digital navigation role, you can think about how can AI literacy be developed in the context of, or a career navigation role in the context of finding a job, right? We know that a lot of those systems use AI in the job search. There's something called an applicant tracking system, which uses AI to screen resumes. So there's a lot of ways that you can think about plugging AI literacy into whatever it is that you do. These are some examples. I'm going to skip through them so we can have some time for Q&A. So Jackie, you can just click through those, some ideas. Like I said, we have a digital skills framework. It's called Bridges, and we've developed, go ahead, you can go to the next one, Jackie, it's okay. Yeah, digitalskillslibrary.org/bridges. But we've developed these I can statements that help people understand, okay, if I'm building digital skills, what is the AI literacy extension or piece or lens of those digital skills? So these I can statements address different competencies within a digital skills framework that are related to the use of AI. So, for example, I can use strategies to verify whether a shocking video of a known person might be a deep fake. Relates kind of to your online life skills, scrolling through social media, but it is an AI literacy concept as well. Okay, and this is in a language learning context. This is a great instructor who has found a way to routinely develop with learners their AI literacy using a ChatGPT extension. I just love this example because it's so simple, but it's a great opportunity. So she just uses a ChatGPT extension. Learners write a sentence into a spreadsheet. ChatGPT gives a suggestion, and then learners reflect on that suggestion and have the opportunity to either say, well, no, I don't like ChatGPT's suggestion, or say, yeah, I did like the way that that was worded. So just thinking of these simple little opportunities where you can embed the use of AI so that people can feel comfortable using it, and also AI literacy so that they're aware of what's going on in that process. Next. We also have the EdTech integration strategy toolkit, and basically what we encourage, you can definitely go through the toolkit, but what this toolkit, the impetus behind it is strategic integration of technology. And so thinking about how can you consistently give people exposure and practice through routines, and then how does that relate to the tools that we use. So what are the tools that we're using in those routines? And then click, how does the use of those tools in that routine way build digital skills and or AI literacy? So just thinking about how does our strategy bring all of those pieces together? The tools we use for teaching and training, the routines that we implement in the process, and then how we develop digital skills, and in this case, AI literacy through those routines. Okay, so these are two upcoming events I want to share with you. I'm wrapping up, so you guys put your questions in the chat, but I'll explain these. We have on April 12th, we'll be talking more about the Bridges framework. This framework has a lot of checklists. So I would say definitely if you're a digital navigator, it also has checklists for employees. So it's just a really great framework for a variety of roles that work with adult learners. We'll be rolling that out at the April EdTech strategy session, and we'll have a lightning talk on universal design for learning. So I invite you to that. In May, we'll have, if you guys liked that beginning part with Mechanical Turk, you will love Hale's presentation on a little history of AI for educators, going into some of the sci-fi around AI and that kind of fun stuff. And then we'll be rolling out, like I said, the AI considerations for adopting different AI tools in workforce training and adult education settings. So I invite you to those. And then I also invite you to follow the EdTech Center and stay in touch. And that's all I have, my friends. Wow, I talked for a long time, but I would love to hear your questions. These are the two links in the chat. And any other, oh, I'm seeing myself. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, comments?
Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
How are you? Before people ask questions, that I'm sure that they will have, I just wanted to say on behalf of our office, thank you very much. This was great. I know that it was very short and very compact, but I think that many people will want more. I thank you very much for agreeing to bring that Camp GPT or some variant of that to Houston. We look forward to it. And again, thank you on behalf of all of us at MOAL and in Houston for your time today. It's been great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It has been great. I'll go ahead and address Arcella's question, determining whether a chatbot is human or AI based. there are certain signals that we can look for and support people to look for. So for example, if you have a finite set of options for what you can do with the chatbot, that would be a machine-based chatbot. Or even if you see the option to chat with an agent, that means that you're talking to a machine and you can talk to a human. So there are some little signals when you're interacting with a chatbot for different services that you can look for to know whether it's machine or human based. Good question. Good, Christina. Hope to see you there. What is, oh yeah, I saw that, Jackie. Thanks. Any other questions? Luis, hi.
Anything else, you guys? I know it's it's a lot. And sometimes you're like, just trying to marinate on it all. But Rachel, thank you so much because again, bringing your expertise and your experience and sharing that to kind of, let people feel more confident and more assured about using artificial intelligence and integration. Thank you for, I know my on the spot question, but thank you. We're looking forward, as Federico called it, summer camp. So I'll get back with you on that to do summer camp for Houston. But everybody, if you please give Rachel a huge round of applause. If you want to turn your camera on and just clap or shake or send a whole bunch of reactions for giving her time and to us today. Rachel, if there's a takeaway that you hope everyone has, what would be that takeaway?
Okay, there's actually two things I would like to share about before I leave. Is two of my these are so cool. One of them is, you may have seen that first slide that we had. We at World Education have a publication that's called The Change Agent. And the Change Agent elevates the voices of around the country and at any English language level. So, if they're beginners to the English language, they can submit. This is a good way for every adult to have their work published in an official magazine. And it's a good way for us to learn more about what are the concerns, struggles, successes of adult literacy learners. So I just want to mention the Change Agent because I'm on the editorial board for our next issue, which will be called Our Digital Future. So this is our opportunity to elevate the voices of the people that we serve and hear from them about how they're interacting with technology and how it's helping them or how it's caused a trip up for them, etc. So I really hope that if you work with adults, you might look at the call for articles and encourage them to submit a story to the Change Agent. And then I'll also say that another thing that I love in this space is called Mozilla's Common Voice. Common Voice is crowdsourcing different voices for an AI data set. So we know that what AI needs is to be more representative of the diversity of our society and humanity in general. And Common Voice is a way for people to donate their voice so that the data behind voice recognition software is more representative of all the voices and accents and dialects around the world. So those are two things that I just think are cool and inclusive and exciting AI. Well, not the Change Agent is more around just technology in general, but Common Voice is very AI specific. Anyway, just wanted to share those two things. What would you recommend to integrate plugins, ChatGPT, Copilot, other? It really depends on what you're already working with. I think struggle ahead is to compete with Copilot and Gemini, Microsoft and Google, which are already built into our suite of workspace software. So that's ChatGPT's next real challenge. They have right now the best performing AI, but it's not fully integrated. And what we know is that people like for their tech stack to be completely interoperable. So I don't have a specific recommendation. Actually, I really like Claude. Claude, I like, gives really simple answers. They promote their tool as being more secure and ethical. That's kind of their focus. And they can also, Claude can handle what's called a large context window, which means that it can handle a lot of input and still make sense of the input. So I think try them all and see what you like. That's what I've had to do. Or if you use Microsoft, probably Copilot will work just fine. If you use Google, probably Gemini will work just fine. If you want to be involved in all the chatter around ChatGPT, it's $20 a month for a ChatGPT Plus, but you can get a lot of the benefits of ChatGPT with the free version. One thing I love about ChatGPT is the voice function. So it's like a way better Siri or Alexa. So check that out. That's also free. And open up ChatGPT voice on your phone. You can narrate into it and have a conversation that's really natural sounding and helpful. So I use that on my walks sometimes. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm developing an outline for something and I just have, can you give me some ideas? So I like that.
Rachel, if are there like organizations that we can get involved with to learn more about digital equity, digital literacy on a more national front, and what organizations would you recommend?
The EdTech Center at World Education. I don't know if you've heard of that. Okay, let me think. I'll try to be really fair here in my response. Digital equity nationally, I would say the National Digital Inclusion Alliance is another great one that we partner with, and they are very much have led a lot of the advocacy around digital inclusion, and they have great resources on their site. So that's NDIA. There are some that are kind of like specific to devices, like Tech Goes Home. That's another great nonprofit. Trying to think what else. Digital skills for workforce and adult literacy. I'd say we pretty much have the market cornered on that, piece, but definitely, yeah, I would say NDIA is great.
Awesome.
The mayor's office of Houston is awesome. Yeah, that's what I can think of.
Rachel, what's the most creative?
Think more if you gave me time. So, sorry.
What's the most creative use you have found for using AI to teach adult learners? One really creative, no box hold use.
To me, anything that's really project based. So you guys may know that the Office of EdTech just released their 2024 National EdTech Plan, the NETP. They don't do that every year, and this is a really special plan that they just released. It talks about the digital use divide, the digital design divide, and the digital access divide. So really recommend checking out the Office of EdTech's NETP. But one thing they talk about is the digital use divide and how some of us are relegated to passive use of technology. I will respond to your poll. I will answer your email. Where others of us are given more opportunities to use technology creatively and to actually amplify our perspectives and our opinions in the digital world using technology. So that's the digital use divide. So when I think about generative AI, I always think about how can we have learners generate images to develop a PowerPoint that they can share with their boss. Like these kinds of really creative uses that will not only help them develop digital skills, but really give them a leg up in their other goals, like workforce goals and academic goals. So that's what I think of right now is like what project-based kind of stuff can you integrate with your use of AI? I would say on an administrative level, definitely the image generation has been really cool. I've also seen people use different integrations and plugins so that they can have a better and stronger social media presence. And I would say that if you're, working for a small program, you want to up your recruitment, think about how AI could help you have a more regular and engaging social media presence so that people are aware of your services or your work.
Thank you, Rachel. Gold nuggets everywhere, you guys. Thank you, ma'am. We are definitely up at time, and we definitely will be seeing you again. Thank you, everyone, for spending your time with us, and look for more because MOAL is on the move, and you will definitely have opportunities to continue to build out. Wonderful day, everyone. Rachel, your tops. You guys, awesome. Have a good day.
Thank you, guys. Great chatting with you.
Thanks.